So just kind of a quick down and dirty. Obviously, we'd started back in 2004 as a nutritional product company. We are not a dietary supplement company. I think that's a pretty important delineation. Everything we make is actually manufactured in a food manufacturing facility. It's GMP certified, FDA regulated. So there's no testosterone X or dairy antler Y that's going to get into our product. Plus, we third party test our product for banned and harmful substances, so you have that assurance. But what our passion is about nutrition, right? And bringing that nutritional piece in and making it really available to all coaches. And I think what we've created here is Power 5 nutrition for the high school strength conditioning coach. And for me, this is really the secret sauce, if you will. Everybody's in this arms race with facilities and getting qualified strength coaches. And I think we're doing a great job moving that. To me, this is the next evolution, that separator, because every coach that I speak to is calling me because their kids don't eat right. Parents don't have a good map to help them assist that. And they're trying to figure out a way to get some calories in these kids, some nutrition in them, because they're asked to do more than ever on a time-starved budget, if you will. So this really kind of creates a unique educational experience, and doing one that's not where you are inviting, or excuse me, having these forced conversations about nutrition, but rather having these conversations where you're attracting the interest of the kids, which is extremely important, right? So first and foremost, I will jump in here with the critical reload on the drink side, if you will. And I've kind of already touched on it, but I want to jump in when you get to that page. You can really get into our fundraiser piece. And this is really kind of what makes us super unique. You can purchase from us wholesale, then resell that back to the kids, ultimately the parents, and earn a monies and dollars for your strength and conditioning budget or your athletic department as a whole. And I always preface this: you will not spend any of your own money to purchase if you go that route, because you're going to pre-purchase. You're going to ask the parents, you're going to introduce the product. If they're interested, yes, they're going to be able to receive that money. And then you're going to call us and say, hey, we're ready to go. And so all that money will be up front and you'll be purchases. So there's really no resources that need to be allocated from a monetary standpoint from the school. It's just kind of doing your due diligence, and we walk you through that entire process. And most schools raise on average at $10,000 a year for their strength conditioning budget. And that's just with 50 athletes. Now, we have some schools that have raised as much as $31,000 a year. Now, they have 150 families on board that program, but most schools are charging a $2.50 a serving. They're serving 4 times a week. Your cost based on volumes is $1.50 a serving. So a bag of critical reload is $35.99 a serving. And so with that, you're basically making $1 per athlete when you break that down. And kind of give you a little bit of a breakdown here. So really quick. So if you're doing this, which is really our most common way, is you're asking the parents to spend $10 a week. You're going to make $36.36 per kid over that 9-week period. You do that 50 students over the year's time, you're going to earn $1,800 annually, over $7,200. If you're doing something, maybe a 12-week program over the summer, you can add another additional $2,400 on this. So you're looking at $10,000 a year. Not going to have to raise, sell a candy bar, do a car wash, or even a lift-a-thon. This will be continuing to sustain. And one of the things that often comes up when we start talking about charging parents, asking them to pay, is, I'm not comfortable with that. And what I say is, you're already doing this through your school, and I'm sure you have vending machines. So schools are already paying, or vendors already being in there, and you have this concessions, and the school's getting a kickback on that, right? And the other problem, or maybe a stalling and them coming back with this, is, well, if we do this, we got to make it available for everybody. Again, is the kid that can't afford the Coke, does he have a magic card that he can wave in front of the machine and get the Coke? Or out of that vending machine? No. And more importantly, Well, I'm not comfortable charging for profit. Well, then what are you doing on a Friday night under the lights? I'm sure your concession stand is still selling for profit, right? And the difference is you're trying to create a concessions in your weight room. And the biggest difference is instead of selling candy bars, popcorn, hot dogs, and soda, you're trying to give a nutritious snack to those kids at the most opportune time when they need that replenishment. So those are kind of some talking points. And when you come on board, we give you those talking points. We really have a kind of a step-by-step, paint by the numbers process that walks you through that. In fact, we even teach you how to set up a Google's form to deliver the information and actually take payment directly through that using your school's merchant account, because most schools are already taking credit card at concession stands and bookstores and all that. So you already have that. It's just a matter of setting up this product. And most schools will do this twice a semester. They'll basically ask the parents, look, twice a year, I'm going to ask you for $80, and that's going to take care of your kid half the semester, total of $160. And we've done the surveys on this. Most parents are already spending on average $60 to $65 a month on a nutritional product for their child that they know nothing about. So you're going to actually provide them a savings by just saying, look, we need $40 from you every month. And the end result is you're almost valeting the service, giving it to them at the most opportune time. And let's be honest, this is the one thing that parents will provide to schools that will go directly back to their child. And then the last thing is, again, sometimes the conversation comes up where, again, we have to provide this for everybody. Listen, if you get 50 kids on this and you're rolling, you can provide scholarship programs. You can provide nutritional scholarships for those kids that don't have it. And we always use sport to teach the lessons of life. The weight room is a microcosm of that, right? And so that's a great way of saying, hey, look, if you come in and help me clean the dispenser, you come in and help me clean the weight room. Let's say we're doing that in the off season on Fridays, and in the in season, we're doing it on Mondays, then you earn that scholarship. Nothing in life's free. You got to earn it. What a great opportunity to do that and develop leadership around that as well. So that's kind of really kind of a down and dirty overview of that fundraising and the capabilities that you can have. And we see this time and time again, case study after case study. Kids who get on this program gain an average of 18 pounds of lean body mass a year. That's not weight. That's body mass. Kids who do their own thing, I don't know what that is. It's 10. Kids who don't do anything is 3. So one of the things we hear from athletic directors, football coaches is we get tired of having our kids come in as freshmen and looking the same by the time in their senior year, which shouldn't be happening, right? There should be a physical a quantum leap, if you will, because we're getting them prepubescent to they're almost fully mature adults, right? At least legally they are. And so this is what you can experience with that when you're doing that. So if you're interested in that, you guys can get right on there online, right on our homepage, schedule a call with me, or I'd be glad to do that. And I always invite people to come here to up the very top of our banner, click here. You can literally put your information in here. We'll get notified. You'll get access to our brochure. And you'll also be put on this email chain where you get more information. And that information is really good to continue to share with parents, continue to share with administrators as you build this argument that says, listen, we need to provide better nutritional assistance to our athletes. We already do it for our student population, right? Through government funding and these other things, grants. We need to do this for our athletes as well. They have specific nutritional needs, right? So this is that somebody shot something to pit. Paul. All right. So good point, Tom. Any questions on this before I jump into kind of our mode 2?
Nope.
Nope. Good. Coach Burns, you got anything? Nope. All right, cool. We'll jump right into this and excuse me, and we'll keep going.
No, I'm good. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. Thanks for being here. So the next part, that was kind of the genesis. This is what we did in the beginning. And we have really been excited about this explosion and this growth of nutrition education that we've been able to provide since. Because from the very inception of this is the nutritional supplement that we provide. It's not a dietary supplement, but it is supplemental to the diet, is just one piece to an underlying problem, is that's kids not understanding the value of nutrition and how to apply that. As I always joked with my athletes after a great workout session, congratulations, you got 23 hours to make sure you don't mess up all the good stuff we did. We don't get stronger in the weight room, we get weaker. We come in here to break our body down, to replenish our body so that we become a bigger, faster, stronger, more durable, and available athlete, right? And so nutrition is a huge part of that. Male athletes kind of understand that. The women, the female athletes, man, they see calories as an enemy, not an ally. And this really helps bridge that. And the things that you'll teach them through our programs are the things they get to take with them the rest of their life. It's probably the most questions I get from my athletes is the nutrition stuff. They don't ask me a whole lot about the strength stuff. I think they're afraid I'm going to make them squat or clean. Again, I'm not quite sure on that, but this is a great tool. So let me jump in here and kind of show you this. So the stream is actually a byproduct out of our on-demand, but I want to start here because what we found was coaches, and I understand, just as our athletes are time-starved, so are we. We are being pulled in 1,000 different directions. So the intent behind developing or creating and providing nutritional content consistently is a super big challenge. One, to be able to find time to do it and to be able to do it consistently. Usually we get all fired up in the off season, and then what happens? We get super distracted with other things that happen. And this allows you to deliver this in a really simplified way. And so our first one was, hey man, you got a couple of options, but the first one being is you can literally put a Fire TV stick in your TV, or you can broadcast that through a computer up on a computer screen. And it's going to send out these 6 to 10 minute broadcasts of nutritional information. And this is just playing while you work out. And you can have a formal time where you have the kids stop and look at that. Some coaches do, others don't. But I promise you this, the end result is, either way you decide, the end result is the coaches are shocked at the questions that happen as a result of this playing in their weight room. They're like, man, some of the questions or some of the information that's being broadcast isn't anything I haven't said, but for some darn reason, because it's coming out of that TV, they're coming to me and asking questions. This is what I've been wanting to have. I've been wanting to have these more meaningful, purposeful conversations about health and nutrition and how it relates to their performance goals. And is it because it's coming to that TV? No, it's not you preaching to them about it. It's attracting them. So as they're hearing from their TikTok influencer that carbs are bad and carbs are evil, they're looking up here and they're reading, they're saying, man, carbs aren't so evil. That doesn't, wait a minute, this is reference, this is pure. Coach, talk to me about this. I thought all I had to do was do protein, and boom, fish hook, you got them. And that permeates through the whole group there. So it's just these 6 to 10 minute bites. You get that consistent engagement because the broadcast happens all week. So the kids see it every time that they're in there. Some schools advance that and they have the capabilities to broadcast through the entire school. They do it in the cafeteria as well. And again, it's in this easy, digestible, absorbable format. And I think it's important to note that this isn't Mike Bewley's Wild World of Nutrition, right? This isn't something crazy off the cusp. This is all expert-led nutritional educational information. I went out and got the best and brightest, and I aligned it with my experiences in education and nutritional adoption and adherence with my athletes over 20 plus years, and blended that with their expertise and knowledge. So everything is sourced, and this is, again, this is great information. And because it's sourced, gives you the opportunity to have those conversations with your athletes. This is actually out in Nebraska. This is a picture up in their cafeteria here. So again, you can broadcast this in multiple locations, multiple areas. We like the weight room though, because the weight room is usually where those conversations happen with the strength coach. This is where I recommend you start. And then as you grow into this, you can branch out to the locker room, perhaps cafeteria, even common areas within that. So what do you learn? You got a year-round journey here. You got 33 weeks of content. So if you were to come here and look at any one of these, you could just click on them. And these are the learning objectives. These are the things the kids are going to learn each and every week. And they build on one another and they grow. And we get around week 20, after week 21, we get to week 22. highly, highly interactive. Now it's about application to the education. Because if you just give a kid a workout and have them do it and they don't understand it, probably not going to comply with it. Same thing with nutrition. If you're not teaching them the value of this and how it aligns with their personal mission and goals of what they want to do in terms of experiencing more wins and tell the championship stories that they want to tell, you got to give it more meaningful, purposeful context. This allows you to do that. This involves the parents. This invites them to do that. And the feedback we've gotten from the parents has been, yes, I have a better map in assisting my child's sport ambitions. Yes, no question we're able to do it. But the other part that they really like is I'm having a cool conversation with my teenage son or daughter. I miss having those when they were younger, and then they turn into teenagers and they turn these weird monsters, if you will. That's the one thing we get back from the parents, and they really, really enjoy that part of it. So I invite you to come here to kind of look and be able to see all the different things that we go through on this and how to track this information. In fact, we even get into the power of habits. 20% of this stuff's science, 80% is habit. How do we develop those habits? We look at Charles Duhick's Power of Habits. We have tools. We have assignments that they can do. Kind of a fun way, and that's all interactive through the TV. They can usually scan a QR code, get the information, and they're kind of off and running. So this is a really non-invasive, you don't have to think, coach. It's just a matter of turning on your TV, and every week you're going to have a new broadcast around nutrition that's going to build on concepts from the previous week. And that if you want to be able to have a guided conversation at the end of that week or a certain time during that week, you can. But this is probably the most unobtrusive way to be able to start sparking the conversations around nutrition. And before I jump in and kind of go into the next part of this or the next genesis of this, I'll just pause and answer any questions anybody has about the stream. Everybody good?
Cool.
All
good.
Awesome. All right, so let's go in the on-demand. So this now meets the athlete where they are. Where they spend most of their time, unfortunately, on that phone. And so this gives them the information. And what we saw with our broadcast was the kids started becoming incredibly inquisitive. They said, Coach, I want to be able to see this information. I saw last week's, where's that at? It's kind of gone now. So the stream is very transient. Here this week, gone the next. But this is evergreen content. And because it's mobile friendly, because we have this information, we went ahead and took it a step further, because if a kid's asking this, they're probably taking a more stronger and more vested interest in their nutrition themselves. So that we ended up putting in is this nutrition calculator. So as kids are learning, they're able to apply their nutritional needs based on them body composition, based on their own personal needs, right? Now, I'll tell you this. I can't tell you how many times I've told a kid, well, you need 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight for protein needs. None of them pulled their calculator out and figured that out. But if you ask them what they squat, what they bench, what they clean, what their vertical is, what their 5, 10, 5, what their 3, they can number those numbers off. So in this calculator, they're simply putting in their height and their weight. They can privately take their own body composition, which tells them exactly how much lean body mass they have. But it puts out a 5-day meal plan based on all those parameters, based on their sport, which is incredibly important. You might have kids making that jump from football in the offseason to basketball, completely different energy system, completely different muscle fiber recruitment. That appropriates different nutritional ratio needs, which is bioenergetics, super important information, but we've dumbed that down to an 8th grade level, and kids are able to actually apply that. That then spits out a 5-day meal plan and a grocery list for mom and dad. So everybody has a map. They know exactly what to do and how to do it. And one of the things we really talk about is our sleep, because we can't out-train a bad diet and we can't undersleep nutrition. We give free tools that allows them to be able to assess their nutritional sleep, the quality, the importance of that, as well as part of that. So again, that's the difference between the two. Transient, here this week, gone the next. This is evergreen. You can actually have this information. So if, let's say, you wanted to get this, you as a coach get a single license and have access to this. So you can actually broadcast from the stick. You actually can now see advanced information that's going to be broadcast in the coming weeks. You can kind of prep yourself. Maybe you can create those those conversation points that you want to be able to have, because you get a free single license to this on demand as well. So this nutrition calculator, maybe I'll show that real quick, and then I'll actually get into the let me see if I can't access it here. There we go. Go back to full screen. So let me show you the calculator real quick. So the kids put their information in. From a privacy standpoint, we have to put this in here. If you kind of get the parents' permission, the kids okay, they'll send you their email. You'll get their information as well. So this is very private to them. We had to do that from child protection laws and all that stuff. So tells them exactly how to use the calculator, but here's kind of the magic. They're going to put their body weight, their height in. Do they know their body fat percentage? Great. If they do, awesome. If they don't, they can literally go grab a cloth measuring tape from maybe the equipment manager, measure them, and that's gender specific, and that will spit out their lean body mass. And if they do know it, maybe you have an in body, maybe you have a way to test that, they can put that information in there: lean body mass, fat mass. I love doing this for the coaches and saying, look, don't send me your thing, but tell me, what was your lean body mass? Because now you can start telling coaches and athletes, hey, how much lean muscle did you build? So listen, I want to know what your body, I want you to know lean body mass. You can start showing that trend and how well they're improving it. Football coaches love that, right? This is how much muscle we've gained. Not just weight, coach. This is how much muscle we've been putting on. And you know the quality of that as well. And if you notice, this is all calculating based on those parameters. Again, it's a lot of formulas, a lot of happen back there. Kids aren't going to figure all that out. Coaches don't have time to. This scales all of that. And if you see here, based on me and my information, tells me I need 3,400, but activity level determines your calorie needs. So as my activity level goes up, so do my calorie needs. And if, heaven forbid, I do experience an injury, I can adjust my total calorie needs based on my activity level as well. So that way we're rehabbing an injury, not body composition on top of that, because the kids kept eating like a horse and not accommodating that lessening of the activity there. So we get into gut health and specifically fiber, all that kind of stuff that they want. But here's kind of a cool thing too. It tells them exactly how many bottles of water that they need, right down to the ounces. And I think that's really important. And it's a big delineation that we make in here. So it said 6 right there. So if we increase our activity level, let's watch what happens to our hydration needs. They go up. Why? It takes water to store energy. Huge, really important concept. So weighing in and weighing out isn't about, are you gaining muscle? Are you not? It's about hydration. And don't record it, but have the kids. And the rule, and they learn about it, is basically every pound that you lose in a practice, you need 16 to 20 ounces of water there afterwards, right? So water is a big part of that. 75% of muscle is water. We need a positive nitrogen balance. We need to be hydrated in order to even build muscle. Really important. Then we get into the meal planning. We have the nutrient ratios. Again, we have over 40 different sport profiles. Here we have basketball in season. That changes based on off season. Football, it's going to be a different animal too. Those types of things will change once you're in season. And again, it creates this sample menu that they can download. It's a 5-day meal plan. And we've also linked ourselves up with eatthismuch.com. So let me see if I can, let's do this. I'll click on this. It's going to pull up my account. So I'm going to do something different. Can you guys still see this screen right now? You guys can still see this. I just want to go. I don't even want to register. Let's see if it's going to let me just go in here. Yeah, perfect. So let's say I determined I needed 3,000 calories. We always tell kids anything because that's going to give a balanced on that. Let's say I wanted to figure it out. I need 5 meals a day. Generates this nutrition program for them. Here's a 5-day meal plan laid all out for them. If they were to roll over this, obviously I don't like oatmeal, coach. Well, then click that. Different thing. You can literally change that meal with a click. You've got your entire nutritional breakdown with this. If I was to click on it, I have that nutritional breakdown. And I have all the ingredients. I have exactly how to make it. And parents can actually connect this to Amazon Fresh and have this stuff delivered directly to their house. Pretty incredible to be able to have all of that information right there at their fingertips. So that's another way to take a little step with their meal planning and make it even more specific. This is free. If they wanted to get more like, hey, I want to put in, I don't like broccoli, I don't like cauliflower, I hate carrots. You put that in there, it'll make sure that it produces meals and plans that specific to that, what that individual likes. It creates a grocery list. You can get a family involved in all of that. So mom knows exactly what to get when she goes to the grocery, or again, she can connect all this to Amazon Fresh and have it delivered. Pretty neat to be able to do that. So that's kind of our that's kind of our portion there of the calculator. And let's actually jump in and see specifically what's inside of Critical Reload on Demand. I want you guys to be able to look at that. So here, this is all responsive, so you can look at it on a tablet, a phone, or a desktop. Here, obviously, we're looking at a desktop. All your chapters are laid out. Let's just we'll just jump in here to this chapter 3, or chapter 3, carbohydrates. And I'm going to blow this up. And these are the same broadcasts that they're going to see being broadcasted through stream, right? So one of the feedbacks we've gotten from athletes and coaches, the kids love it because they're actually sitting in the car to and from school. They're actually watching this. They love the fact that they don't have to read anything. One kid told his coach, it's like BW3s without the chicken wings, coach. Like, it's giving this trivia information. It's flying across the screen. It's blowing up there. So we deliver this information to the athletes in this way, in this format, for them to be able to understand. And then we link all of that to the calculator, right? We'll go to, I really actually wanted to go to this one because this kind of shows a little bit more of the visuals that we do. So as we're talking about the content, we also need to talk about it from the context of familiarity. So if I'm using text to deliver that information, but more importantly, I'm using relative foods that we see here, right? So, okay, what is a whole grain, right? And what are these food sources that I can see? This helps parents as well. Juices, we talk about all these things. And then we start introducing, all right, what are easy carbohydrates that are on the go? Most athletes, they're not just playing the sport at school. They've got their travel team. They've got to go here and ask, where are these things? Where are these foods that they can get? What is good sustained energy? What are things they can put in their backpack throughout the entire day? What we have a great free presentation that you can get. It's talking about building your 7-Eleven all-star menu. Promise you, around your school, there's a convenience store. I promise your kids and the parents are stopping in there at least one time a day. Go in there, look and see what's available, create an all-star menu. It's a great resource there. But this is kind of how we deliver that information to the kids. And this information is coming in. And what's kind of neat too is kind of notice there is everything is sourced, right? So this isn't Mike Bewley's Wild World of Nutrition. We have lesson overviews, but we have the lesson and learning objectives plus key terms, right? And everything is sourced. So if I wanted to get in here and start talking about looking at the popular fad diets, what do they say about that, which we address? Click directly on that. It's going to take you directly to that research and referenced article. That might be something you ask them to, hey, pick one of the references, write a report on that if you want to take it in a class. And I share all this with you because this information empowers you to then build a curriculum. You can build a curriculum off of this and start hosting as a class as well. And we offer SMART goals for you to be able to align this with the SMART goals intent. We have that available and that information available to you. That's on our blog. Take me there, yeah. And so we have a couple of SMART goals. This is a great one from Ryan Johnson, how he's utilizing those. But we have these SMART goals where you can get in here. There's a great one around parents' lack of nutrition education and what they understand. This one here is being able to use grant money to be able to find sources later on down the line. So this is a great resource to be able to come in here and you can actually get the SMART goals delivered to you and seeing exactly what those are. So you've actually just put your information in here. Boom, we'll send those SMART goals to you. We have a 4-step process with that. So that 4-step process includes 1, the stream, to the on-demand. But then how do you do this with your coaches? How do you bring the coaches up to speed on the on-demand so that they're speaking the same language? Big problem we often have is the language that we use maybe sometimes derails our intent. Maybe you told a kid needs to lose weight, and now you've got a coach who's maybe lost some weight. Coach, how'd you lose that weight? Well, I'm doing the keto, or I'm doing the Atkins diet. Oh, you told me I need to lose weight. Maybe that's what I need to do. No, that's not what you need to do. But this gives a unified message around nutrition and gets you ability to be able to have this understanding of this is the things we need to be saying. This is the things we need to be doing. And we do that with our missions and our creeds. We put slogans on T-shirts and on walls and on racks and in our locker room to prop up our culture, to mitigate any sort of outside influence. And this is just another great way to do that. And you can build leadership with this as well, too. As kids go through this and they become more advanced, as they get older, they can be mentors to these younger kids. Coaches all the time want better leaders, but they rarely put them in leadership positions. This is a great way to be able to do that, develop that mentorship, develop that camaraderie and closeness there with the team. So that is Critical Reload Stream, which is our mode 2. Mode 3, this is kind of how they work together. And then we have our mode 4. And this is rarely do we have somebody jump right in on this unless they're in physical education and they want to bring it in. But this is a really, really neat way to be able to manage learner progress. And I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit here so you can get a little bit of idea. So here allows you to be able to upload a series of athletes and be able to monitor their learning progress. That's one thing I didn't even touch on inside of the of this program. And I'll jump back and then I'll go back into it. Is we actually include quizzes within this as well. It's kind of a fun way for them to be able to test their knowledge, and you can actually see their progress and what they're doing. And which state does the body enter when there's a lack of adequate calories coupled with intense training? They can actually check their answers. Oops, I put anabolic state, catabolic state. And they get to continue to go on with that as they go through and progress. I'm going to get back to my tab here. I'm going to have to go back to, yes, here we go. Go back to full screen. So you essentially would buy enough licenses that would cover a group of athletes, and you would be able to put their name and email in there, and boom, this would be able to allow you to be able to have a roster that you wanted to follow and manage their learning progress. You can see that progress, see how well they're doing. You can notice, hey, maybe a lot of kids missed this question. I want to make sure I address that before we head into week 2, because everything kind of builds upon itself. You have, again, this ability to have this team management. So in addition, you can bring coaches in and you get a private group. So within this private group, you have this ability to have assistant coaches, sport coaches, everybody in here, and be able to have this assistive framework. So it's not just important for you to be speaking about nutrition, but rather the position coaches to be able to do that. If you really wanted to, and we get into it on our SMART goals for the parents, you can even include a section for the parents on this where they can maybe potentially be able to answer questions, or parents themselves be able to assist one another in their nutritional journey as they support their kids' sport ambitions. Again, you're able to check that quiz progress, be able to go in, see exactly what the kids did, what their score is, be able to dig down and see specifically what question that they missed. And again, have those guided conversations so they're able to do that. Then you can also take this flipped classroom model as well. So with that flipped classroom model, what you're able to do is you can invite them or assign them to read certain chapters and then create discussions around that, and then continue those in person at certain periods during the week. So you can say, look, I need you to come in and tell me what created the most value, or what's something you have around this particular chapter. Great way to have this flipped classroom model, teach nutrition without impacting their training time, right? Which is what we're all trying to do as coaches. And if you personally have some great nutritional information that you wanted to include, you could certainly create that. You could put documents, upload those images, create albums and folders, and further enhance their nutritional education. And this is kind of the plan for that. This is honestly the starter pack is probably our most popular because of the flexibility that you have. So if you had 50 athletes that you wanted to do this, we could give a 25% discount for those kids or for the school to purchase the on-demand. We would literally send you, and that's up to you guys, however you want to do it, right? If you want to say, look, I've got 50 kids that I want to put on this program, and we're going to buy 50 licenses of critical reload or critical reload on demand for our kids. Okay, no problem. You get a 25% discount on that, plus you'll get the stream for free. And on top of that, you're able to have the flexibility with this of being able to have 150 athletes that you could go through on this 50 athlete license, meaning you do it for 50 for, let's say, the fall. Then in the spring, you get rid of those 50, you bring in a new fresh crop of 50 athletes that come in. Now you're able to monitor them. Then in the summer, you got another group of 50 athletes. So on one license, annual license, you could run through 150 athletes if you wanted to be able to have that. So you have that flexibility with the with this athlete hub and using all of those systems together. So that's a lot. I'm going to go ahead and pause and answer any questions maybe anyone has.
No questions so far.
Cool. Awesome. I'm doing such a good job. I'm answering everybody's questions. This is great. The last one is our Mode 5. And this is something that we've kind of put together where we're starting to talk about heart rate. And I'm actually giving this conference in February at Strong Rock Christian School down in Georgia. And that's a 2-day conference. And what are we learning about? Well, I did this presentation quite a few times, and it's been received very, very well. So this is a way more in depth. This is kind of just scratched the surface and piqued interest, but we're really going to grasp this link between heart rate, calorie burn, and optimizing athletic performance. So let's say a kid actually goes through the thing and it's saying, look, you need 3,000 calories, especially a female who sees that. They're probably going to be a little gun shy with that. They're probably like, there's no way. Okay, well, let's strap you up. If you strap them up with a heart rate monitor, they go out, they go to their 2-hour practice, they come back, they can see what they burn. So 1,200 calories is what you burn in a 2-hour practice. They're shocked. And oh, yeah, by the way, that's all you're taking in a day. And based on your activity level and your body composition and your sport goals and what you do, you need to be taking almost 3,000. So it's a process of these little epiphanies that they end up having as they go through that. But more importantly, a lot of these systems are super expensive, right? One, you got to buy the hardware, which is a sensors around $450 as the GPS and the heart rate. Then you got to be able to have a dock station to be able to upload that. Then you got an annual software license to do all those things. We've created a system that allows you to spend about $90 per athlete for one sensor, and you don't have to do any of that. You can glean all that. More importantly, the kids can be away from you. So they can actually, they keep the sensor, they're away. You can actually see what they're doing and know exactly what's happening outside of that. So away at games, you start building a profile of this athlete. Again, this is all completely free. Doesn't cost you anything. All the only thing you have to do is invest in that heart rate monitor, which has a 2-year warranty. So worst case scenario, that thing craps out after 2 years. You're just another $90 investment, which again, that could be the schools, or that could be the parents want to invest in that. Like, listen, I want that for my child, and you're able to provide that. Again, totally up to you. But more importantly, we're able to build this model of load management. And we use the acute chronic workload ratio to do that. Polar calls it cardio load. It's essentially the acute chronic workload ratio. It's the same thing the NBA, the NFL use. And again, the system automatically crunches that number. Challenge we have as coaches with data is collecting the data and then dispersing the data. This automatically crunches the numbers for you. It does it remotely. The kids literally turn on their phones, they connect it, and then they go play their sport. They go do their activity. When they come back in range of their phone, it automatically pops up. Do you want to save this session? Yes. It automatically goes to the cloud, and then you see it instantly as a coach. Pretty powerful to be able to do that. I actually do that with professional athletes that I work with. They're over in Europe. They're over in France. I can see what they're doing, their sessions, and we're able to build all of that and be able to give them that real-time information and feedback. So we teach that as part of this system as well too. And if you want to come down to Georgia and be a part of that, awesome. It's a super hands-on. So if you've already got an H10 sensor, great, then you're only $149. If you don't have an H10 sensor, you're getting a heck of a deal because that's a regular $90 sensor. You're going to get the conference and the sensor, and it's going to be a hands-on by doing. So if you look at the format of this, I hate going to conferences and sitting in laps, lines, and lectures. You're going to stand in line for registration. You're going to do laps around an exhibit hall, and you're going to sit on your butt the whole time and listen to somebody tell you how important they are or the things that they know. There's value in that, but what are we trying to do in the evenings at these conferences? We're trying to take a social atmosphere, make it professional, and be able to have these professional conversations. So what we did here is we said, you know what, let's build that into the conference. So one, there's the lecture, here's the lesson, but more important, let's observe a live session. Let's see this real time. How am I going to see this being performed in a real environment, of which similar to the one I'm going to try to indoctrinate in this? And then let's break out. Let's break up into groups. Let's talk about what we saw and some blind spots. What's the best way that we can connect and communicate with this around this information? And that format follows all throughout the conference. And so we do have social events in the evening, and guess what? Those get to be social. Those get to be very casual. And hopefully we build strengthen relationships that we build right here through this conference, through these small group breakouts that we have. And then in addition to that, we have these sustained dialogues. So you have lifetime access to all the resources. Not only am I going to be speaking, everything's professionally recorded. So you have opportunity to go back and review that. So you have lifetime access to that. But upon conclusion of the conference, you're also going to be a part of a private community. Like I showed you that private community under the Athlete Hub, you will have one too. So you get to continue to have these professional conversations with people that you were at the conference with. And more importantly, as we start bringing more conferences and hosting these, you're going to grow your network of other people and learn more and be able to glean that. And we even have a post-conference follow-up with this and just saying, hey, how are you doing? What's happening? But I think all of these pieces together really allow you to apply knowledge, because oftentimes we go to these conferences, got a concept, we got an idea, we're ready to do it, and then bam, something comes up like, oh crap, I don't know, I didn't account for that. This gives us a really unique opportunity to reach back out to our network and ask questions and further refine, right? Because it sounds good in our head and on paper, and until you get in the heat of the war and the battle and all those things that kind of happen, those blind spots start revealing themselves. And this is a super way to assist you on that. And let's be honest, this is all linked to nutrition. So now you get to really have some incredible guided nutritional conversations together as well. So that is kind of really a culmination of all of our modes. And I'll wrap it up and kind of share this part of it with you. One of the other modes that we're going to probably be bringing in soon is the fact that we've partnered with the American Dietetic Association and eatright.org. And so now we have access to their database of health professionals, sport, youth performance nutritionists, and sports nutritionists. So we're seeing a lot of colleges, mid-majors, who can't afford to have a nutritionist, same as the high schools that the Power Fives have. So what we're seeing is these schools are saying, look, we want to bring in this unified nutritional education message, which is built on a foundation of scientifically based information. It's highly interactive. It's just like, it's very similar to be able to get the information they would have somebody in person. But if they want more assistive guidance, they want to use their NLI money, they want to maybe a sport coach wants to use their dollars to assist an athlete with muscle gain or fat loss, well, then we can make that connection. We can connect that coach, that athlete, that family at the high school level that says, you know what, this is great information. We want more assistive guidance. We can provide that connection, either do a telehealth or locally. And then now you just enhance what you're trying to do, right? Is to build this nutritional robust system, and you pass a little bit of that on to the parents and not burden yourself with those tasks and those responsibilities of that, right? So that's kind of a new mode that's going to be coming here within the new year. And then we're also going to be launching in the 2024 a certification with all of this. So this will all be the critical reload on demand will be an actual certification. So what's unique about that is a lot of certifications will teach you nutrition, but then you're kind of left to your own devices to try to figure out, okay, how do I apply what I've learned nutritionally? We have all the tools that show you how to do that. So not only are you going to learn nutrition, but now you're going to learn how to apply nutrition in that environment and at scale. And I think that's what we've done here is not only we have information, but we've made it in a way that's scalable. The same way you've scaled your strength and conditioning program, we've done that for nutrition. Think about it from a strength and conditioning standpoint. It's pretty amazing what you're able to do as a coach. You're able to bring in, as a high school coach especially, bring in a group of athletes with variances in maturation, with variances in interest, with variances in abilities, and be able to develop a program that applies to one of those individual needs. You're like the ultimate maestro conductor of all this. Because why? You have learned to scale your strength and conditioning program. What we've done the same thing with the nutrition. We've created a system that allows you to scale just the same way as you've done with your strength program, but do it via nutrition and do it at a really, really high level that's comparable to what a Power 5 school would do. And that's really what we've been able to create. And this is what we're most excited about. We feel like we're the best kept secret in nutrition for athletes. And we're just trying to get the message out to people and let them know what we're doing. And so we're super excited. I think in some ways, we're a little bit ahead of the curve. I think the future of high school strength conditioning is going to involve nutrition. And I think the challenge right now is just figuring out what I just said. How do they scale it in that way? And I think we're way ahead of the curve in being able to deliver that. So any questions?
No real question. I kind of clicked on. I wasn't sure what I was getting into. To be honest with you, I saw the Mod 5 one for the heart rate, so I figured I'd hop in and check this out. So it's pretty. It's impressive.
Thank you very much. What impressed you most?
I think the education component to it. So I'm a coach, but I'm actually an associate professor at a junior college here in New Jersey. So we have very little resources for our athletes. Comparatively to D1, D2, and even D3 schools. I mean, we basically have zero resources besides anyone that teaches within the exercise science department. So so I was, like I said, I was interested. I was kind of looking at that the heart rate workshop in February. So I figured I'd click on this. I was really impressed just with the educational component and the modules and how it's that flip style classroom, if you want to go that route with it.
Yes. No, I appreciate that feedback. That's what we really wanted to be able to create. I think you could be as hands-on or as hands-off as you want to be with this system. There's a high level of efficiency and efficacy with it. And that's what kind of excites us really about being able to bring this to coaches, especially like yourself. So this is kind of fun to be able to bring that. And the response is people first see it like, holy cow, like really didn't have any idea that this kind of existed or was available. So I appreciate that feedback.
Yeah. Do you guys ever do anything on the individual athlete basis, or is it always sort of geared towards the school and group?
Is that kind of where maybe your headspace is at right now, is saying this is going to be more individual, or is this something that, hey, listen, this has implications at the college level, at the junior college level? Talk to me a little bit about where you're at, your thoughts.
Yeah. So, I mean, initially, this could be even something that's embedded within the exercise science program as an actual course versus a general, intro to nutrition course that the students take. So it could be, I think there's so many possibilities. I think the way you guys have it set up, where there are learning modules and there's objectives and there's quizzes, so there's student learning outcomes that we could actually track and assess that might be better than, the person that's been teaching intro to nutrition for the last 30 years, 35 years, that's over in the biology department that doesn't understand movement and athletics and sport. The actual demands might be different than general population, and even just the guidelines that they might be used to prescribing might be different than what the current literature says. So, that's sort of that's sort of what I hear out of my students, is that they took intro to nutrition and they didn't get a whole lot out of it.
Yeah. There's a couple of things, and that this dialogue sparked my candle of thought. What I was going to say is, nutrition is generally, it's a challenge that I saw even at the college level. They haven't scaled their nutrition either, just like a strength coach has. So they're very one-on-one. And when I show them this, like, look, this allows you to scale yourself, and then you're literally taking a scalpel to their specific needs, because they've taken the time to educate themselves, right? And it's supposed to, the first 6-8 weeks is, we're going to try to bring you up to speed, and I'm going to try to do that one-on-one basis. What if I could have a educated populace, that when I could come in and have more informed, more actionable deliverables, and being in that way? That's kind of what we want to be able to do. We really, at the heart of it, we want to become an education company, and that sells a nutritional product, not the other way around.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Keith, I appreciate your time. And any other questions?
No.
Cool. I will reach out and send you guys a recording of this. I'll have my contact information with it. So if you want to continue the conversation, I probably fed you through a fire hose today. So I'm sure if you have anything, shoot them back to me. But I can't thank you enough for your time and your inquisitiveness with it, and hope to continue the conversation with you.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
You got it, Keith. Have a great one.
You too.
Bye-bye.